Welcome to the Sports Cypher, brought to you by Gas Sports Network. I'm your host, Scruff, reporting live from the Lions Den. It's been a minute, but with the playoff action that we've had going on, I had to dive in some of the hottest sports topics for today. If you haven't heard us for a couple weeks, it's because we are new and improved, reporting live from the studio. So, big weekend in the NFL in terms of action. We saw some pretty edgy matchups, 4 total this weekend. None more impressive than the one I'm going to lead off with today. I'm going to talk about the Philadelphia Eagles. Oh my goodness. Now, I know I couldn't have been the only person on the edge of my seat, but I was literally stunned. Sitting there just trying to figure out how that field goal ended up missing, man. Shout out to Doug Peterson, icing the kicker. That was a crazy turn of events for the Eagles. Bears heartbroken. Nick Foles did just enough to get them to the victory. I was very, very impressed with Foles in the victory. Really just impressed with the poise, just really pushing and trying to get through and getting the win. And they squeaked that one out big time. Making it happen just when they needed to. Golden Tate. A lot of fans wondering if he was worth the money. He looked like he cashed in on that one. Advancing the Eagles now to the second round of the playoffs. Now, got to be impressed with what the Eagles are doing, squeaking by and getting through against a really tough Bears defense, especially on the road and Soldier Field, one of the most historic places you could possibly, play a football game. Now, big challenge up next for the Eagles is going to be going up against the Saints. Saints team that, at lowest point of the season for the Eagles was the Saints' loss, which was a huge mollywhopping of epic proportion. It was Carson Wentz the quarterback, of course. This is now Nick Foles the quarterback. A totally different team now. We had some real rough times in the secondary where we've seen a lot of guys now stepping up and playing pretty well. Going to be interesting to see what happens with that. But I would say, if you thought it was tougher for them last year, it's only been tougher this year. And so far, 1 for 1 for the kid Foles that just seems to always find a way to win. Also on the NFL docket, I guess you got to talk about the Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys, man. Nobody enjoys it except the Cowboys fans. But, the truth be told, they played a really good football game defensively. I got to like what I see with the young linebackers they got. I was a big fan of Jalen Smith coming out of Notre Dame with that injury. I was hoping that, a team would take a chance on him. Unfortunately, it was the team in my division that we now have to watch the Cowboys reign on as division champions, continuing on with their run, beating the Seahawks in a close game. Dak Prescott actually played pretty well. Ezekiel Elliott also doing what he does, getting those ground yards. And Dallas Cowboys looking like a team that could potentially make some noise against the St. Louis, LA Rams team. Still trying to get used to that. The LA Rams, they've looked beatable during the season. They're not nearly as Goliath-like that, they were when we seen them earlier in the season. But, man, truth be told, I do like the Rams in that game. But I got to say the Cowboys have a fair shot of winning that game, and I wouldn't be shocked at all if Dallas won that game. So that's going to be a big matchup in itself. The NFC playoff picture, 2 NFC East teams still in the game. Impressive to see, for sure. Definitely impressive to see. Moving on to the AFC side, man, I want to talk briefly about Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers is a guy who's been around for years. Some reason came in looking pretty much like an underdog against the Baltimore Ravens team with a quarterback that was 21 years old, first playoff start. And he looked 21 years old in his first playoff start, although I will give him the credit for turning it around in the key stretches of the game. He played extremely well down the stretch in the fourth quarter for the Ravens. Although if you're looking at the way he's playing and something to take into account as you move into the off season of your program with a young quarterback, it's just you never like to see a guy sitting in the pocket for that long. He just kind of looked to be a sitting duck out there for a while, especially considering how fast the guy is. He definitely looked a little like a deer in the headlights to an extent. But a lot of that goes with time. I think the Ravens have a nice young future that they're building with Lamar Jackson. But obviously, man, if you're going to be a quarterback in the NFL, you got to put the passes up. I mean, he did end up with like about 178 yards passing, or close to 200 yards, which was pretty impressive. But pretty much locked out most of the game. So Phillip Rivers is going to advance on. I'm excited to see him make a run finally. I think maybe this could be a year he can make a run, but it's going to require an upset going in New England next week. Obviously, New England would be the favorite to win that game. It would be a shocker. Not a shocker, but it would be a bit of an upset to see the Chargers move on. But they have a very talented team. I think they could do it. It just really comes down to Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers played well. I mean, getting them in position to kick all those field goals that they did to win that game. But not like thoroughly impressed with Phillip Rivers either. So you got to probably like New England in that game, and the other matchup probably going to be the better matchup of the two, with a red hot Colts team that's been playing extremely well. And yeah, obviously what the Chiefs are, but I don't really expect the Chiefs to come out and lose in the first game. But I've seen crazier things happen. So just checking in, Sports Cypher, Good Ass Sports Network. We are here pretty frequently. If you want to jump into the conversation, you can always join us. Reply, comment, tweet. We're all over the place. So check us out on Instagram, Twitter, @gas, Good Ass Sports. Or you can check us out on our website. That's www.goodassports.com. Signing off, this is Scruff Lion. We are Sports for the Culture. One love.